Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the college football show. It is week 5, and it is opening lines. We are ready to discuss the biggest and the best games and whatever else you guys would like to discuss. Of course, jump in the chat, jump in the comments. Tell us what you want to hear about. We would love to hear it. Make sure you like the show, that you are subscribed. We do this every week. Every Monday, we're going to be right here. Every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Central, 6:30 Eastern, we're going live, and we're going to have a big flagship show. We're going to tell you everything you need to know about the week to make sure that you are ready. We're going to give you our picks, et cetera, et cetera. And we're doing a Saturday morning show for the closing lines at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure, set your calendars, all that good stuff. Make sure you're ready to rock and roll. And you can do that by being subscribed to the channel, liking this video, leaving some comments, and going over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Chris, how was your weekend?
It could have been better.
I feel you. I will say this. We can go ahead and start with this, and we had some crazy upsets and whatnot, and I believe that it is just another example of how you're not going to be able to predict anything this year. It's all haywire. It's all off-the-wall stuff. Mississippi State, as a 17-point road dog, wins at LSU, the defending national champions, 44-34, and puts up 600-plus passing yards in the first game for Mike Leach's offense. It's insane. Kansas State, 38-35 winners at Oklahoma after they've got so many guys that are not there because of contact tracing, etc. Yep. And they had just lost to Arkansas State at home.
That's right.
2 weeks ago. And they're going to go on the road and beat a top 3 AP team for the first time, I believe, in their history.
Ever.
Texas almost loses at Texas Tech?
I believe that's it. Yeah, I think it was.
Either way, wherever it was.
It was at Lubbock.
So they almost lose that game to a Texas Tech team that was a 2-point conversion away from going to overtime with Houston Baptist.
Awful.
I mean, just ridiculous. And then, of course, we see the night slate, Miami 52-10 over Florida State. And we told everybody that we were staying away from it. We did have some people in the chat on Saturday morning that said, you guys are missing this. Miami is going to destroy them, et cetera. And it felt really stinky. The line stunk to us because, all right, if they're so much better, why are they only 11.5? But at the same time, this is a rivalry game, equal talent on both sides. Why, it was strange, right? Very, very strange. So that's just an example of how these things are going to go for the rest of the season, and God only knows when the Big Ten and the Pac-12 start to play, what that's going to look like. I mean, it is going to be a complete cluster. I can't wait for it. Cannot wait. So, with the opening lines for this week, we're going to dive into the games that we feel like you need to know about. If there are other games that you would like for us to discuss, obviously leave them in the comments. We can talk about it doing the Q&A or whatever on the Saturday show at the end of the show. But we're going to try and limit it down because there are a ton of games now. Just a ton of games. So we want to hit the biggest ones. We'll start on Friday night, and that is BYU hosting Louisiana Tech. That's rotation 103-104. It's on ESPN2, late night game. BYU opened a 21.5-point favorite, and the total was 54.5. It has already been bet up.
Jumped up.
In the few hours that we have been here. It's been bet up to 24. And that's pretty much across the board. Got thoughts?
BYU looks impressive.
Kalani Sitake's bunch is mean, man.
Yeah, I was just about to say, they are tough. I kind of thought this was going to be more than 3 touchdowns.
And now it's been bet to that.
Oh, so, yeah, it's a lot more than 3 touchdowns. I mean, 21.5 is more than 3 touchdowns. But
and Louisiana Tech is not a bad team.
No.
I mean, this is crazy. If we ever get that Army BYU game,
that's the game that we got to get made up.
Yeah,
we just have to.
We absolutely
both these teams are independent. Cancel a game on the schedule that doesn't matter.
Yeah, we ought to be able to make that happen. I think we can make that happen. Hopefully, they will. With that said, we are going to move over to Saturday.
I was just trying to find the score of the BYU Troy game because I remember it was
out
like
of hand.
48-7.
Yeah, 48-7.
I was like, that's why this number is so big. It's not enough.
It's ridiculous is what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. TCU at Texas is the first one on the Saturday noon slate that we're going to hit. That is the Fox big noon kickoff game. Texas is really the Big 12's last hope at this point. They opened as 13-point favorites. The total was 60. It has stayed at 13. I think everybody feels like this is just about right. And Gary Patterson kicked the extra point, man. I know that you guys and the commentators think that point doesn't matter, but holy mackerel. There were people out there that had TCU plus 2.5.
I don't know that he felt like he had a kicker that could kick the extra point.
Oh, man. You got to try it. Because it's the last play of the game. There's nothing else that's going to happen. And you're already losing anyway. Kick the extra point, man. Do us a favor. God. Anyway, moving on from that. Thoughts about TCU, Texas? Gary Patterson always gives them fits.
Yep, and Texas. Listen, I think you and me could put together 22 guys and go score on Texas.
You might be right. UTEP couldn't, but
well, I'm not talking about UTEP. Texas Tech sure as hell did.
Texas Tech certainly did. They certainly did. Alan Bowman is legit, but I've said that on this show forever, so is what it is. Let's move into the SEC, and let's talk about Florida, who looked fantastic at Ole Miss on Saturday, putting up 51 points, and Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts is, just the Kyles are booming down in Gainesville. 19.5-point favorites over South Carolina. Coach Boom, this close to getting a big win over Tennessee.
Yep.
And at that point, if they do get the win over Tennessee, how much shorter is this line?
I don't know that it's short much at all. I think this is all about Florida. Now, it immediately did get bet down to 18.
Yeah, it's down to 18. It opened at 19.5. It's down to 18. The total on that was 55. I feel like this is too many points.
I think it's too many points. I think this Florida team's good. I watched almost, like I told you before, I've got family from Ole Miss. Love watching that school. Very excited to see Lane. I wanted to watch every play of that game. I did. Florida's really good. Let's not undersell this. That defense for Ole Miss, that's
putrid.
That's non-existent. I mean, they belong. They're a Big 12 football team right now. They can score on anybody because that's a really good Florida defense that they scored on a whole lot. They can score on anybody. They can't stop anyone. I just worry, are we boosting Florida way too much? Because South Carolina's defense, I mean, it'll be like playing 22 guys out there compared to the 11 that they played.
Oh, yeah. It's a completely different deal because they are South Carolina is so much better defensively than Ole Miss is.
Now, they're not close offensively.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Ole Miss is the same distance away from South Carolina offensively that South Carolina is.
But bring the scoring down, and it's really hard to beat somebody by 20.
Yes.
It was easy to beat Ole Miss by 20 when you're scoring 60.
Yeah, and even then, they only beat them by 16.
Yeah.
So,
but bring and that Ole Miss missed an extra point, and they missed a field goal,
and didn't get the touchdown at the end of the game.
Yep.
I mean, because they were on the goal line at the end of the game.
That's right.
So
it's just one of those things. I think it's a lot of points. I think we saw one team lose to Tennessee, who we don't think is very good, most people.
Yep.
And then I think we saw
an offensive explosion. In Oxford.
Again, Oxford. And I think a lot. I think this team is good. It's not disrespect to them. I think that's a little fool's gold.
Yeah, I think so too. Moving on, staying in the SEC here, we're going to talk about Tennessee, who got that win in South Carolina. Rotation 115, 116 here. Missouri comes to Knoxville. Tennessee opened an 11-point favorite. The total was 45.5. It has been bet down to 10, pretty much across the board. You surprised at this?
Yeah, I'm really surprised that anybody has taken Missouri.
Like Missouri, I understand they had the 2 late touchdowns against Alabama.
That's called garbage time.
That's garbage time.
They were down. It's called garbage time is because this team is garbage.
Well, they were down 35-3 against Alabama, and Alabama pulled everybody.
Yes,
because it was one of those situations. Because if you're in a situation to do that, you got to go ahead and do it.
Yes.
So they pull everybody out, and Missouri kept in their starters, and they eventually got feeling better about themselves. They scored a touchdown on the last play of the game to make the final 38-19 instead of 38-13, and they didn't kick the extra point either.
Yeah.
But that one had nothing to do with the spread. I don't think Missouri is very good.
No, I've told you that before the season started.
But at the same time,
this is not a good football team.
I did not think that Tennessee looked like they were good enough to destroy anybody. So maybe it makes sense.
I don't know. I think this Tennessee looked better than I thought. I think we're not giving South Carolina enough credit. I think that was a well-played game by both those teams. And so Tennessee's not juggernauts by any means. You don't have to be juggernauts. I think Missouri's going to struggle to win a game.
You might be right.
I said that before the season started. I got them winning one against Vanderbilt. After 1 week, I take Vandy in that game.
Yeah.
I know it's a super small sample size, but right now, give me Vandy.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. You might be right about it. Let's move on to the ACC. On the ACC network, 121, 122 rotation numbers. NC State going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got the win over Louisville. It was incredibly close, like we all thought it would be. It sat at Pitt -3 all
Holy
week,
cow.
and then it landed right on 3. So for those that got it early in the week with us
I thought
at 2.5,
Louisville was a live dog, man. I thought they had a shot to win that game.
oh, they absolutely did.
Oh,
Absolutely
they gave it
did. This line is Pitt -14.5, or at least the opening was.
Slight a bit bigger than 3.
48.5 is the total. It very much so. The 14.5 only surprised me because I thought that it might be a little bit bigger.
Really?
NC State looked so bad against Virginia Tech. I went back and watched the game this morning because you know where I was last night. I did not watch this game.
Nope.
I went back and watched it because all of my stuff is DVR'd, right?
That's right.
So I go back and I'm fast forwarding through trying to see exactly what went, and they just got destroyed. Like, I thought that their offensive line and their defensive line had maybe made some strides because of how they looked against Wake Forest.
That offense looked so good against Wake Forest.
I think that Wake Forest is really bad.
Okay. Well, we missed out on seeing how bad Wake Forest really is.
Yes, because they would have been demolished in the trenches by Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Pitt can really own this game. I had it at 17.
Okay.
And it's only 14.5, and it's been bet down to 13.5.
Yep.
And now I see a 14 on the board. I see a 13 over at Bet Online. I don't know why. Maybe they expect Pitt's offense to not really show out. Maybe.
Is there any way on earth that just North Carolina State just had a brain fart and they're giving them a pass?
Maybe.
Well, I mean, not really, because it's still a 2-touchdown game.
Yeah, they got whipped. Absolutely whipped. So Pitt is the perfect team to whip somebody.
We see teams get beat badly because they play badly 1 week and then the next week look fine.
You might be right. I'm not certain that I'm going to play that one yet.
Oh, I'm
not
touching.
I mean, we'll
trust
see.
seeing these ACC schools except for Notre Dame and Clemson.
I will say that that is the one conference that I have not figured out yet.
No. I'll tell you this. No, Syracuse defense is real good.
Yeah.
Syracuse defense is legit, and I'm going to be betting lower numbers on them when they're dogs.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take them more.
It's a smart idea. That 335 is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Moving on, we're moving to the Big 12.
Dynamo.
This is still in the Saturday noon slate. Baylor and West Virginia. This is up in the mountains.
West Virginia would just let me down.
Yes, they did. They are a 2.5-point underdog in this game, total of 55. Baylor looked good. This is the ABC noon game.
That's the opposite. Baylor looked really good in their first game.
Yes.
How in the world did West Virginia not able to score on Oklahoma State?
That makes two.
I watched a lot.
Yeah, I did. That makes two teams that have not been able to show up against Oklahoma State's defense.
That's
Tulsa's
normally
offense,
really good offensively.
Yes,
is that defense really good? Does Gundy have a defense and not an offense for once?
You know how I feel about Jim Knowles.
I know.
Their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, you've been saying that for. I can't believe it because I've watched this team under Gundy for so long, and they can't stop anybody.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know what to make of it.
They finally have a defense. If they could ever get that offense healthy and together.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
They could be really, too bad. Yeah, I guess they haven't lost anything yet.
Nope, not yet.
They just look bad winning.
No, you're right about that.
Very disappointed in Neil Brown and West Virginia.
It just wasn't able to get it done. They just may not have the dudes yet. I mean, we talked about that before the season. Like this was a complete rebuild job. Like, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I feel good that they'll be able to get stuff done. It just may not happen this year. Let's move to the Saturday afternoon slate. These are the 3:30 Eastern time games, and we've got quite a few of them to hit. So we'll kind of roll through them a little quicker on this. Texas A&M and Alabama. Line opened at 16.5 in favor of Alabama. 53.5 is the total. It's on CBS. A&M scored 17 points on Vanderbilt.
I got no explanation for this.
And gave up 12 points. And it was not like easy points. It was like Vanderbilt was able to drive the football. I'm scared of this one.
I don't understand what A&M's doing. I know they lost just a million guys to opt-outs.
Yeah.
I mean, that team was loaded when I picked them to win the SEC. And now
they're top 3 tight
they're a
ends.
complete shell of themselves.
Yeah, in a tight end heavy offense.
Yes.
They lost their best wide receiver. They lost their best running back. They
lost a couple of trench guys.
They lost the guys in the trenches.
That's a big
defensive
deal.
linemen. They had some guys opt out or not opt out, but declared for the draft early.
Well, therein lies the problem is these are all NFL guys.
Yeah.
Like these guys aren't opting out to come back and play next year. No. These guys are all opting out to go to the NFL. That you just don't replace those guys in the season. You replace them the next year.
Yes.
But you recruit assuming they're going to be here now.
The line has already jumped up. People have bet it up to 17 and a half in some spots. Does this get to, 19, 20?
Yes. If you like Alabama, get them now. Get them today, get them tomorrow, get them now.
How do you feel about it? Probably not touching it?
No, I'm not touching it. I want A&M to be better. I want somebody to beat Alabama. I just want to compete with them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be able to play a bunch of high school kids all day long and look like juggernauts.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's move on. The ESPN game, Oklahoma State at Kansas. It's 137, 138 on the rotation, plus 21.5 for Kansas. That's a lot of points. And Oklahoma State hadn't really been able to score on Tulsa or West Virginia. However, this is a different kind of team. Kansas is going to give up points.
Bad.
54.5 is the total.
Kansas bad.
Do we expect Kansas to score anything more than like 2 touchdowns in this game?
Therein lies the problem is if this Oklahoma State defense is that good, I don't know how Kansas scores.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
Listen, Tulsa's offense is a lot better than Kansas' offense. West Virginia's offense, I have to believe, is a lot better than Kansas' offense. And neither of them two teams could score.
You're right. You're right.
I can't figure it out.
Me either. I don't know.
It's the most non-Big 12 looking
it's strange, isn't it?
In my life.
It's really weird.
Baylor is the only team. TCU, those are the 2 teams that play football like this in the Big 12. And Gundy's like, I want to be like those guys. No, never seen it in my life.
It's so weird. Let's move to the ACC. This one's on ABC at 3:30 Eastern Time. 111, 112 are the rotations. North Carolina at Boston College. Boston College is an 11.5-point underdog in this spot. Mac Brown gets to get back on the field now. Total is 54. Boston College is 2-0. They were gifted a game against Duke.
Yep.
They were able to come back from 7 down late at home against Texas State and get a 24-21 win in that spot.
Yes, sir.
I don't know exactly what to make of BC. I know what to make of North Carolina.
They're a good team, not a great team.
Is 11.5 crazy? It's been bet down to 10.5 at one spot and 11 at another.
Yeah, I think it's too many points because once again,
pace of play is one thing because Boston College is going to shorten the game as much as possible.
No, this game's going. Yeah, you're gonna make your tea time if you want to play later. It's just get your dinner reservations. You'll be there. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
I just haven't been impressed with North Carolina yet. See, we all thought there was a chance North Carolina could compete with Notre Dame and Clemson to maybe be that underdog team that Miami's kind of being, that other team to compete for the ACC.
Yeah.
I don't think they just don't have it yet. They're good, but they're not great.
But they're not title contenders yet.
Oh, not close.
You might be right.
And because of that, man, I don't know that they're double digits away from Boston College.
Yeah, I like what Jeff Hafley's doing. He's got that team believing that they can actually win ball games, and it is surprising.
It was weird against Texas State, but they beat the hell out of Duke.
Well, Duke turned the football over like 5
But
times.
hang on now, some of that is they took the football away 5 times.
That's true.
Right?
Is true.
You got to give credit where credit's due because that is not something Duke has done ever under David Cutcliffe.
Yeah, it's really strange. It is not a common occurrence.
If Duke just habitually turned the ball over all the time, it'd be one thing. That doesn't happen to Cutcliffe coach teams.
No, you're
now,
dead
it
on.
could have been a quicksand game to where once something starts going bad, everything starts falling apart, and you just chalk that game up to we're not watching that game film, it doesn't matter, and you move on. They're not really that good, and we're not really that bad. I don't know, man. I thought this was too big. I was thinking this line was going to be between 7 and 9.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
I'll tell you this. It wouldn't surprise me if by Saturday it is around 9. Now, to drop between 11.5 to 9 is a lot. That's 3.5 points.
Well, 2.5 at that point. It's not quite a field goal, but
that's a lot. That's still a lot.
That is a lot of movement. And I don't know that there's going to be a ton bet on this game with the SEC bag. So we'll see. I don't know if people find an edge. If you guys know something, make sure and let us know. That's what we want to hear. Let's go ahead and talk about. Well, first off, let me remind everybody, if you made it this far into the show, make sure that you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, get those notifications and whatnot. We're going to be here with you all season long. And do yourself a favor, go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. We got all the content that you need from the college football universe for the entire season. It's going to be a blast. Make sure that you jump in there, that you're subscribed, that you're commenting. We want to hear your opinions on the show. Tell us what you're thinking. We obviously need some help because can't nobody get all this stuff right. So let's share the wealth, share the knowledge. Tell us what you want to know, and tell us what you do know. I'll say that. Let's move to Memphis and SMU. This is a fantastic matchup.
Yep.
It is on ESPN2. It is a 3:30 Eastern game. Memphis going over to Dallas. It's a rotation 125-126. SMU opened as a 2.5-point home dog in this spot. Memphis has not played since September 5th. And now we are getting into October. And we'll see what happens. SMU 3-0. They've got that offense clicking right now. Sonny Dykes, he remembers what happened last year when game day came to Memphis.
That's right.
The total here is 74.5, by the way.
Yeah, that's a big old number.
That's a big old number. I will say this. I bet the under in UCF and East Carolina, and that touchdown from East Carolina with 19 seconds left busted me and you.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's awful.
Hurt my feet. Garbage time scores shouldn't count against the spread.
So Memphis SMU, that has been bet down now, and we kind of figured it would be because SMU catching points at home, they've got more experience.
Played a lot, and Memphis played once 3 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago.
We're moving into week 5. They played in week 1.
Week 1, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So it is right now, it's been bet down to 1.5. We've got one spot. Bookmakers got it at a pick 'em already.
Yeah. I think that's where I'll tell you this. I think that's where the line should be.
It'll end at a pick 'em.
I think that's where it should.
That's where I had it.
You can't watch that Memphis Arkansas State game from a month ago and tell me they're substantially better than SMU.
Oh, absolutely.
From what we've seen from SMU the last couple of weeks. That's just you're just wrong. Memphis might come in and house them. Your analysis is just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I will say this. I really like SMU right now. I really like them in this spot.
I do think Memphis is more talented. At the end of the day, I think that's where this number's coming from.
Very close. It's close.
I think we got athletes that SMU don't have.
Well, the other side of this is who's going to be out for Memphis because they've had so many COVID issues.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I think the reason they're able to get this game in is because all those COVID issues have run through.
Maybe so.
I think Memphis is back. I think we're fine and they're back. Now, I could be wrong.
I mean, we'll see. I may not touch it. I don't know.
No, I'm definitely not going to. I'm not going to bet this game.
I do like SMU in this spot, though.
I'm going to watch a lot of this game.
Yeah, watch it and enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
And enjoy it. Let's move on back to the Big 12 here. And Texas Tech is going to Kansas State. And one of these teams got a massive upset last week. One of them did not, and they were very, very close.
It's 135. So bad, it hurting my bones. I wanted Texas Tech to win that game.
135-136 is the rotation. Kansas State is a 3.5-point home favorite as the opener or the opening line. It has been bet to.
It's 3.5 to 3.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I lost the line.
No, it's 3.5 to 3.
So it's 3.5 to 3 still. So it's sitting right there, and this is about where I had the number.
Yeah, this is where I think it's going to be.
I thought it'd be a field goal game.
That's right, to the home team.
Yeah, And this kind of makes sense. I want to see who's coming back for Kansas State. I want to see if they play as hard in this game as they did in the Oklahoma game. This could be very interesting. Very, very interesting. These are two very different kind of head coaches, Chris Kleiman and Matt Wells.
Not a lot alike.
And I just want to see who is able to force their will on the game. Who controls the pace?
Yeah.
What
does this game look like?
Yeah.
Is it a track meet or is it a slob fest?
And if it's even still, whatever it is, I think the Kansas State can figure it out because Oklahoma turned it into, a track meet. And, and they were still able to come back.
That's how Oklahoma plays.
Yeah.
That's just because Oklahoma plays.
They dictated pace, and Kansas State was still able to beat them. Oh, Oklahoma's defense is so bad. What did I send y'all in our group chat? It was like death, taxes, and weak Oklahoma defenses.
Yeah.
Like, happens every year. Every single year. Now, it obviously doesn't help when you're throwing interceptions, giving them out like candy. But, come on, Spencer Rattler. What you doing, buddy? What you doing? All right, moving into the 4 o'clock Eastern slot, the ACC Network has got Virginia Tech and Duke, and Virginia Tech, I believe, is going to have some dudes back this week. Not that they necessarily need them, because, golly, what a butt whooping they put on NC State. Duke could use them having a few more guys out this week.
That's right.
The line opened at 9.5. By the way, rotation 113, 114. Duke is a 9.5-point home dog in this spot. They beat the absolute brakes off of Virginia Tech last year, and that is what switched Virginia Tech into figuring things out, right? They won at Blacksburg 42-10 last year. Beat them to death. It was awful.
And then Virginia Tech just rolled from there.
Rolled from there. Now, they lost the rivalry game against Virginia. That's probably the best Virginia team we've seen in 15 years. I mean,
maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
Since Tiki Barber was around. But yeah, this is a strange spot.
It's been bet up to 10.5.
Well, it's because Virginia Tech looked really good.
Well, yeah,
they were so good.
No, and Duke hasn't looked great.
No, they have not at all.
Duke's only good game they've played so far is not getting destroyed by Notre Dame.
Yes, in the first game
they got beat by Notre Dame
by 2 touchdowns,
but they didn't get demolished by Notre Dame. And therein lies that's not a good sign.
No, it is not. At all. So I'm curious what's going to happen here. I want to see who's playing. I want to see if Hendon Hooker is back.
I'll tell you this, if Duke has trouble holding on to the football against this defense,
it's going to be nasty.
It's going to get ugly quick.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech will take if Boston College took it away from them, Virginia Tech will take it away from them.
Like double digits.
Yeah.
10 turnovers. What are we doing?
It's going to get bad. But it is weird to see Duke be, because Cutcliffe has been such a consistent coach, a double-digit dog at home
dog
to somebody other than Clemson.
Yes, or Notre Dame for that matter. Right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's
they
just
normally
weird.
don't play Notre Dame.
I mean, it's 10.5. Most places 10 at some, and I think it's going to continue to go up.
That's the place it's trending.
Yeah, I mean it's frightening. It's very frightening. Sticking into the SEC. Over on the SEC Network at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, you got Ole Miss at Kentucky. It's 145-146 rotation. Kentucky opened a 7-point favorite over Ole Miss. That has been bet down to 6.5 at some spots. It is still at 7 at others. Total is 56.5. That doesn't seem like enough points to me. Maybe I'm crazy. How do you feel about this one?
I don't know. I think Ole Miss's offense is good.
Yes.
I think they are going to score on everybody they play. I said earlier, the defense is not good. This is a prototypical Big 12 football team. Kentucky's offense is going to look better this week than they've ever looked in their life.
I will say this. I expect a lot of overs playing on Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah.
I think that this total,
because they can score and they can't stop people.
I think this total gets above 60.
Oh, I don't think it gets there. I think they hit it, but I don't think the line's going to move 4 points.
I would almost guarantee it.
Really?
We'll come back on Tuesday and see where it is.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out.
That's just a day and a half from now.
I know. I think people are going to, because they can't play defense, but they can absolutely score on just about anybody.
Yeah. I think this offense is really good.
Yeah, I agree.
You were right. We talked about Matt Corral being the quarterback for Ole Miss, not John Lee. I keep calling him
John Rice Plumlee.
John Rice Plumlee. Plumlee doesn't need to take a snap ever again the rest of his life.
Well, at quarterback, they had him in at receiver.
Take the receiver.
But yeah.
Receive the football from the center.
Yes.
He never needs to do that ever again.
I mean, it's yes, 100%.
Matt Corral can throw the football. And their receivers are big and athletic, and they can play. Now, they don't have a very good offensive line, but it's all quick. It's all fast.
Yeah.
And that was against a Florida defense that you think – how comparable do you think Kentucky's D is to Florida?
I think Kentucky's defense might actually be a little bit better.
I think it's comparable as the word.
Well, because remember, Florida
they're close.
Florida had a couple of guys in the secondary out. One was out due to targeting early in the game and whatnot, and he was kind of the quarterback of that secondary.
I know. That was a big deal when he went out.
Yeah. So I think that had
something. Hit, though.
Oh, it definitely was. I don't think Florida was as bad as they played. I think Kentucky's defense is maybe a touch better.
Okay.
Maybe a touch better than Kentucky's defense. But Kentucky's offense is not what Florida's is at all. It ain't even close. So
the only way they don't get to that is if Kentucky slows the game down and they just get ball control.
I love Terry Wilson, but, man, giving up that football 3 times. Like, they outplayed Auburn. They just did. They outplayed them and lost the football game. All right, we are coming up on 31 minutes here, so let's go ahead and dive into the last one for the afternoon slate. It's a 6 p.m. Eastern Time kick on the CBS Sports Network, and this is part of the Commander-in-Chief Trophy showcase, whatever it is, right? Tournament? Round robin?
Round robin. Oh, they call it just a trophy. Commander-in-Chief Trophy.
Navy at Air Force. And Air Force opened a 1-point favorite, and it has been bet to... And I've lost the game because the rotations are not up at this point for the most part. Oh, it's still one at most spots.
You can get it 1.5 or 2.
I see a 2. There's a couple. There's a couple of spots around. You can basically get this where you want it if you are a Navy fan, right? So you can get it where you want. Are you surprised that Air Force is favored in this game, even though they have not played a single game?
No, because I think they're a better football team.
Navy just not getting a lot of credit for the Tulane win, right?
I don't think they should.
Maybe not.
I watched that game.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Remember, Air Force's like all-star quarterback is out for the season. So what was it called? It was like he was suspended or he was not in good standing as a cadet or whatever. Yeah. Like that really hurt this team's team strength.
Yeah,
to me,
if he's playing, this is like a 6-point line.
Maybe more. I mean, really, maybe a lot. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have. I think that's baked
into this, but I'll tell you this: I like the unis.
Oh,
the Air Force is doing the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails unis.
Yes, it looks fantastic.
This is going to be the best uniform game of the year until Army Navy.
Yes, I agree with that.
And then I got to see what those are like to see if they're better than this.
To see if they're better than this one. I like
this one. It's going to be legit.
I like that. All right, let's move into the evening slate. We've got, 6 games here. I did not tell you about Oklahoma and Iowa State. That was a late TV ad, so we're definitely going to hit that one. Yeah. But we'll hit that after the rest of these. Let's go ahead and dive into maybe the biggest game of the weekend, and that would be Auburn at Georgia. It's rotation 153-154. Georgia, a 7-point favorite. Total is 43. 43 points. And we may not get there.
No.
This kind of has 17-10 written all over it.
If Georgia can score 10, I'll be shocked. This ain't Arkansas, boys.
No, you're right about that.
This defense in Arkansas. They just took the ball away 3 times from Kentucky. They're going to take it away from Georgia all day long.
It's been bet down to 6.5 in a couple of spots already. I initially had the number at Georgia -9 last week before they actually played a game.
Okay, yeah, I don't look that far ahead.
And now, so you had a 3-headed monster at quarterback for Georgia. You had JT Daniels, who still has not been cleared. You had DeJuan Mathis, right, and then you had Jamie Newman, who opted out just about a month ago. And the guy that ended up taking the most snaps is Stetson Bennett IV. And he looked okay. 20 out of 29, 200-plus yards, 2 touchdowns, whatever. But they went, I mean, you talk about retracting from an offensive switch. They immediately reverted back to hand the ball off, make the short throws, don't do anything stupid. Like it
against
was
Arkansas.
Against Arkansas. It was bad. I mean, it was really, really crazy to watch. So I don't know what to make of this.
Not been the 2:30 game?
Yeah.
I don't remember that ever. I think my entire life it's been always the CBS game.
The CBS 2:30 game. It's been a couple of times that it's been the Auburn, Georgia ESPN game because ESPN every now and then gets to choose that spot.
Okay.
So they will pick the big games that ESPN wants. Like last year, ESPN got LSU and Florida. There was no reason LSU and Florida should not have been
CBS.
The CBS game. But either way, the way that it has worked out, this is a night game in Athens. You're going to get to see all the neon lights and all that crazy ish. But I'm curious about the game. If you like defensive slugfest, this is going to be your game.
If those lights can help them score points.
Bo Nix looked pretty good last week.
I think the wrong team's favored.
We're going to have fun with this one on Tuesday.
I told you that, though.
Oh, I know you did. Golly.
I watched these two teams play.
Yeah.
One played a virtual high school team, and they almost
the other
lost.
played a pretty good team and found a way to win.
And they'd say they almost lost. They ended up scoring 37 points in like a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, that other team just died. They just had no more will to fight. They fought and they held them off as long as they could. But that's because they have no talent. They have no depth. Auburn is going to have zero problem with that. Let's
move on. We're sticking in the SEC, and we are going to talk about LSU and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, an 18.5-point underdog at home. Total of 52 here. It has already been bet up to 20 and 20.5 in some spots. Is this a get right game for LSU?
So.
Or is Vanderbilt for real after only losing by 5 at Texas A&M?
Vanderbilt's not for real, but that doesn't mean that LSU's for real.
True. Very true. Basically, the question is, can LSU win by 3 touchdowns?
I didn't know that we could beat anybody by 3 touchdowns after Saturday's game.
Yeah. This is.
But I also was very honest going into that game, saying, I know this number is big. Don't play the number because I don't know that we can win the game.
Yeah, you were very serious about this,
and I wasn't dicking around. I wasn't screwing around. I wasn't kidding. I don't know that we can win the game.
But you know that you can win the Vanderbilt game, right?
I know that we can win the Vanderbilt game. Can we beat them by 3 scores? That I still don't know.
That's a good question. That Vanderbilt defense,
you put
I think,
Miles
is not
Brennan
bad.
out there against no one, I don't know that we can score 3 times.
Maybe I think you got plenty of talent. I think you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I may not touch this one.
But listen, I've been watching LSU football my whole life. Take Joseph away from us, okay? Just take last year out, set it aside. Miles looks like every LSU quarterback that's ever been in my life.
That is 100% true.
And we got 2 national championships playing football that way. That was ugly. You had to hold your breath a lot.
And hold your nose sometimes.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. But you found ways to get
found ways to win games. So
that is a valid point.
But we just didn't beat the hell out of people. That's the difference.
Yes. Everything was close.
Honey Badger's not coming through that door.
No, that's
I really
true.
need Stingley to be back, but if he's sick, let's get him healthy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely with that. Let's move on to the AAC, one of our favorite conferences, of course. And let's discuss Tulsa and Central Florida. Tulsa has to go down to Orlando. Central Florida opened a 19-point favorite at home, and it has already been bet up to 20.5. The total on this was 67. And I think that UCF is going to be able to, this is revenge spot if there has ever been one. Tulsa won this game last year by 3 points on a last-second field goal. This is absolutely a revenge spot, and I think UCF is going to hammer these guys.
The problem is will the backdoor cover get you when you get to these 20-point lines?
But we're talking about we're talking about 20 points, 21 points. We're not talking about 27,
like
right?
Last week, yeah.
And so we'll see. It just depends on what they want to do in the game, and that's where it gets a little hairy, right?
I think they want to do a lot of things, but I also think because of the year of COVID, they want to get guys in and a lot of guys playing time.
Yes.
Which does open the door for the backdoor cover a lot easier.
That is true. That kind of leads us into the next one, which is, SEC Network Plus, Arkansas at Mississippi State. And this line would not have been this a week ago. Mississippi State, a 17-point home favorite over Arkansas. And Arkansas looked pretty good, but they did not look nearly as good as Mississippi State did. It was a just massive, massive win for Mike Leach and the boys down in Starkville. The total is 64. I think that is going to go sky high. I mean, I absolutely think it's going to shoot through the ceiling.
See, I don't. I'd take the under.
You think you'd take the under? Why is that?
Because I don't know that Arkansas is going to score a ton.
I mean, you might be right, but
I think Arkansas is very good. Felipe Franks is going to turn the ball over at least twice a game.
I think that
every game that he plays for the rest of his life.
I think Arkansas could score 20 points in this game, and I think that State could score 50+.
Well, okay, I agree with the State. If they wanted to score 50, they probably could.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think this could be an absolute beating.
I do believe that.
It's scary.
No, I'm going to lay all those points.
Let's talk about the last two games. First off, Big 12 game. Big 12 at night game. And Iowa State is hosting Oklahoma, who is coming off of a loss. Iowa State got a big win over TCU. The opening line was Oklahoma minus 10.5. It is down to minus 8.5 right now. Everybody has oh wow. Everybody is off the Oklahoma bandwagon right now.
The shine is off that apple, boys.
I swear to you, and there were people that talked about it in the offseason. You talked about it in our preview. Oklahoma.
This team is going to lose at least 2 games if they play 10.
And maybe more. And who would have thought it would be the first conference game against a team that they were trying to get revenge on for last year, who they were hosting?
I just don't know why. We just assume that because the guys that they had playing quarterback before were all going to be real good, this guy's going to be real good too. Lincoln's not magic, okay?
No.
He's not a magician. He can't just magically wiggle his nose and make stuff happen.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm with you.
Spencer Rattler is a good quarterback. He ain't close to the last 3 boys they've had.
He can absolutely sling it, but
Yes.
there's something up here. I mean, there's a reason he threw 3 interceptions. You know, they had 4
against
four
a
turnovers.
team that's not known for being a juggernaut defense.
Yeah.
This is not last year's Baylor defense that's just suffocating.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's crazy. It's crazy to see. I am curious about it because
How does he bounce back is what we got to see. Because I do think this line is 100% overreaction.
Oh yes, yes. People betting the opposite way. They are betting on a team that lost in the same stadium that they're going to play in on Saturday, lost by 17 points to Louisiana.
Who hadn't beat anybody badly yet.
I'm just saying.
Louisiana hadn't covered a line since that game.
Yeah.
And barely won every game they've played.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they needed a 53-yard field
by
goal.
the hair of the chinny chin chin every game they've played. Beat the hell out of Iowa State and can't beat teams in their conference.
Yes. Yes. You are correct. Let's close out with this one. This is the 8 p.m. ACC Network game. It is Virginia at Clemson. 119-120. We saw this in the ACC Championship game last year, and that should tell you everything you need to know about this spot because it is now an ACC Network game. It ain't no primetime, ABC, no whatever. It is Clemson, a 27.5-point favorite at opening. 54 is the total. And what has it been bet up to already?
28.5.
28.5 already.
You can still get it at 28 in a lot of places.
Yeah, 28 at a lot, but you can't find the 27.5 anymore.
No, 27.5 is gone.
So, Clemson by 4 touchdowns over last year's division winner. Thoughts?
I'm
This is a cakewalk to November, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, no. At some point in time, they're going to South Bend.
Oh, no. Hold on. Next week.
They're going to South Bend.
No. November is South Bend.
Okay.
Next week, we got Miami going to Clemson.
Oh, no, that's a game too then.
Yeah,
I didn't know so I'd forgotten Miami's on the schedule. So, no, it's not a cakewalk. It's not a cakewalk. This week, cakewalk.
Yes.
No, they're eating cake. Will they beat them by 4 touchdowns? I don't know. Backdoor covers happen all the time.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Clemson didn't beat Wake Forest by 4 touchdowns.
I was about to say, they haven't beat anybody by 4 touchdowns.
But they could.
Citadel.
They
could have if they wanted. I believe they could have if they wanted.
But I mean, so in Citadel, they were up 49-0 at the half, and they won 49-0.
Yeah.
Like they just took the brakes off and played all 150 players. Therein
lies the issue of the world of COVID that we live in.
You are correct. It is tough to predict all this stuff. It has been a crazy season so far, and it's going to get even crazier now that we are fully entrenched into conference play. Hopefully you guys will stick around with us. Make sure that you head over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure you like the video. Leave your comments. Tell us your thoughts on the games this week, what you want to hear about, etc., etc. We would love to hear all of it. We appreciate you guys letting us hang out with you. Of course, subscribe, like, share the show, all that good stuff. Is there anything else we need to hit?
That's it, brother.
All right. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you guys next time.